Hello children. In this video lecture, I will explain you poem 5 of Flamingo, a roadside stand, written by Robert Frost. Robert Frost is a highly acclaimed American poet of the 20th century. Robert Frost wrote about characters, people, and landscapes. His poems are concerned with human tragedies and fears, his reaction to the complexities of life, and his ultimate acceptance of his burdens. Stopping by the woods on a snowy evening, Witches, Mending Walls are a few of his well known poems. In the poem, A Roadside Stand, Frost presents the lives of poor, deprived people with pitiless clarity and with the deepest sympathy and humanity. This poem is an extremely critical criticism of an unequal society where there is a huge division between the rich and the poor, the upper class and the poor owing to the improper distribution of wealth. The poem represents with clarity the difficulty of poor and the complex dynamics of their existence. It also focuses on the unfortunate fact that the unequal progress and development between cities and villages have led to the feelings of distress and unhappiness in the rural people. Let's start an explanation of the poem. Have you ever stopped at a roadside stand? What have you observed that? Here, the poet need ask us, we have stopped ever near any shop along the road? What we have observed and what's the poet's feeling? Let's see through these lines. The little old house was out with a little new shade in front at the edge of the road where the traffic sped, a roadside stand that too pathetically pled. A small house is situated along the roadside. Residents of this house have extended front of their house to construct a small shade. In this shade, they sell some food articles, so it is a shop. The traffic is speeding past the shade. It appears that the shopkeeper is requesting the travelers to stop so that they can sell some goods. It would not be fair to say for a dole of bread, but for some of the money, the cash, whose flow supports the flower of cities from sinking and withering faint. In these lines, the poet tells us that it was not correct to say that they wanted to give bread or any other thing free of cost. They want to sell something to earn money. Availability of money is more in cities. It is money which is supporting development of people staying in cities. It is money which is supporting development of the people who lives in the city. The flow of money or availability of money in cities helps people to lead a better life without problems of adequate food. Means those living in city or people living in city are able to buy food, and those living in villages are not able to buy their food. Means the people who are living in city can fill their stomach easily because they can earn money easily, but the people who are living in villages, they are not able to get food twice a day. The polished traffic passed with her mind ahead, or if ever aside a moment, then out of sorts, at having the landscape marred with the artless paint. traffic consists of beautiful vehicles. They cross the shade while going ahead on the road. Sometimes people look towards the side of the road for a moment. They consider the shade as some ugly construction that has destroyed beauty of the area. Of signs that with N turned wrong and S turned wrong, offered for sale wild berries in wooden quads, or crooked naked golden squash with silver warts, or beauty rest in a beautiful mountain scene. In this line, the poet tells his reader that there is a signboard near the shade. The letter N is wrongly written and the letter S is also wrongly written. The shop offers to sell wild berries in a wooden container. The squash is being sold in containers, and these containers have long neck and are of silver color. Some sceneries of beautiful natural scenes of mountains are also being sold. You have the money, but if you want to be mean, why keep your money this crossly and go along? The hurt to the scenery would not be my complaint. Your poet tells us that you may have the money, but still you may not like to spend. This lines he tells us to the person, to the people who are crossing the roadside stand. Means they have the money, but still they do not like to spend it. That people may be selfish and feel that things are costly. In that case, the poet tells that people they can keep their money with them and go ahead on their journey. The shopkeeper is here expressing his anger. The poet also expressing his anger for those people who are thinking before purchasing anything from this kind of shop. The people who own this kind of shop would get up disappointed, but they will not complain anyone about their feelings. So much as the trusting sorrow of what is unsaid. Here, far from the city, we make our roadside stand and ask for some city money to feel in hand. Here, the shopkeeper, this kind of owners, tells that they believe that their life is full of sorrow, but they do not express their sorrow. They feel that they have their shop so far from the city. They also want to earn some money just like people living in city to earn. To try if it will not make our being expand and give us the life of the moving pictures promise that the party in power is said to be keeping from us. The shopkeeper said here that with the money earned from selling things, they hope to grow at least to some extent. They also want to have a meaning to their life. They want to lead a comfortable life as shown in movies. They are aware of the promise made by those in power, but none of the promise has been fulfilled. It is in the news that all these pitiful kin are to be bought out and mercifully gathered in to live in villages next to the theater and the store where they won't have to think for themselves anymore. Here the poet tells us that it becomes a big news when some people try to help them and their families. Their land has been purchased and they are shifted from villages to cities, where cinema halls, shops, and big stores are so near. They are promised that their life will be easier in cities. They will not need to bother about their future because opportunity to earn is more in cities. While greedy, good doers, beneficent beasts of prey swarm over their lives enforcing benefits that are calculated to suit them out of their wits, and by teaching them how to sleep, they sleep all day, destroy their sleeping at night the ancient way. But in fact, those who promise to do something good for villagers are themselves greedy people. They are pretending to benefit these villagers, but actually they are making a profit for themselves. Many such people come to village. They affect thinking of villagers, which forces villagers to shift to cities. Villagers start thinking that shifting to city will reduce their current problems. In the city, the life is different. Many times they need to work in nights, so they need to sleep during the day, and their lifestyle goes under a total change. It is not the same old style. Sometimes I feel myself I can hardly bear the thought of so much childish longing in vain. The sadness that lurks near the open window there. The poet tells here his feelings that sometimes even he feels that it is difficult for villagers to tolerate their poor condition. The hope of getting a customer is like a wish of a child. Not many customers come and buy from villagers. A feeling of sadness and sorrow is spread across everywhere. That waits all day in almost open prayer for the squeal of brakes, the sound of a stopping car, of all the thousand selfish cars that pass, just one to inquire what a farmer's prices are. Throughout the day, these shopkeepers pray to God for customers. It is their prayer that some cars should apply brakes, stop their car, and come to their shop. Among thousands of cars, some cars do stop there. But the travelers are interested in knowing rates of things in the village. It is just for comparison of prices. And one did stop, but only to blow up grass, in using the yard to back and turn around, and another to ask the way to where it was bound, and another to ask could they sell it a gallon of gas. They could not. This crossly they had none, didn't it see? One car stopped, but it had stopped to take a turn. While taking turn, it used the open space that was in front of the shop. so it disturbed the lawn. Another car stopped only to inquire where the road was leading to. They wanted to confirm if they were traveling in correct direction. Yet another car stopped to ask if the shopkeeper was selling fuel. The shopkeeper angrily thought that they could not see what was being sold. No in country money. The country scales of gain. The requisite lift of spirit has never been found. Or so the voice of the country seems to complain. The money available through the sale of things is not sufficient. The villagers have not been to uplift their lifestyle. Hence, the villagers always complain about poor conditions and lack of money. I can't help owing the great relief it would be to put these people at one stroke out of their pain. Sometimes I imagine to solve all the troubles of villagers in one go itself. These are the feelings of the poet for the villages. Sometimes he imagined to solve all the troubles of villagers in one go, in one time itself. And according to poet, this could be a big relief for the villagers. This could be achieved if everybody buys from villagers only. Then and then only they can uplift their lifestyle and they can live comfortable life in the village. And then next day, as I come back into the scene, I wonder how I should like you to come to me and offer to put me gently out of my pain. But immediately the poet realized that this would not be the good for anyone. The poet does not know why people living in cities should come to villages. He wished that they would not come to village just to respect his thoughts. Not only to relieve the poet of his pain or for taking care of people of villagers. The poet himself is sad because of problems faced by villagers, so he can't equal their sadness to his own sadness. Children, now from this slide, I have provided you textual questions as well as extra questions for your knowledge only. These you need to learn and you need to write with legible handwriting in your notebook. Prepare it well. And children, already we have explained you all the rules of figures of speech. Though I have provided figures of speech of this poem with its definition, so you can revise it and you can learn it with its key rule. Learn well and mark it in your textbook or write all this with its definition in your notebook. Children, this poem has so many lines which has Alliteration, figures of speech. So from last slide, it is continue in this slide as well as in the next slide. So learn well, read well. All that lines. Thank you.